The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, How Global Changes in the Accounting Industry Impact Us All. Presenting today, we have our CEO and co-founder of Prophecy, Peter M. Vessenes. Peter has over 30 years experience in corporate turnarounds, helping small businesses to Fortune 100s. He's the author of 2 books, with a third coming soon titled Finding Economic Balance. Please feel free to ask any questions you have in the questions chat box. We are recording this webinar and it will be available on the Prophecy Academy following the session. So with that, I will turn it over to you.
Welcome to everyone. This is a very interesting topic, how global changes in the accounting industry impact us all. And frankly, the content here is a little more interesting than looking at my face. So I'm going to turn off my webcam so you can't see me. But I want to dive into how these changes we're seeing are coming about. Prophecy's been in business. This is our 9th year. We have a presence in Australia, in the United Kingdom, and in Europe. And we've just seen very, very interesting things happening that are going to impact everybody. It's major shifts in the accounting industry. So kind of what are they? What's really occurring here? Well, first of all, there's a significant impact on client retention. You may have a lot of business clients. I'm not talking about consumers, but about business relationships. There's been a big shift in how clients are staying with their accountants. The second thing is, we all know, the cloud. Everybody talks about the cloud, but the cloud is becoming very, very effective in helping workflow and technology leverage these businesses. So we're going to spend some time talking about that. There's really a shift towards proactive management. Well, what is proactive management? It has to do with knowing what to do when something occurs, as opposed to not finding out about it till it's too late to do anything about it. So we're going to spend a little time talking about proactive management and a little bit about what Prophecy has done in order to help you stay ahead. So, client retention. Most people don't realize that it's not big companies that make up the major segment of how the economy works, the gross domestic product. It's small and mid-sized businesses that really are the backbone to the economy. One of the challenges that we've had in the United States is that small and mid-sized businesses have really suffered. And though, the unemployment rate seems to say, well, it's only 5% or 5.5%, that's because the federal government doesn't count people who have stopped looking for work. Unemployment is the highest it's been in 45 years. There's 94 million people that are unemployed right now. And most of them are suffering because of small and mid-sized businesses having such a difficult time. So the gross domestic product makes up all the transactions. Most people don't realize that in this country, when we're healthy, about 70% of all the business activity that takes place is in small and mid-sized businesses. They really are the backbone to the economy. Now, because of this, accounting firms have tried to go after clients in the small and mid-sized business market. And there's a reason for that. The very large corporate, like the Big Four, the large accounting firms, they're trying to go after mid-sized companies rather than just sticking to helping the megacorps. The mid-sized companies, people like McGladrey, McGladrey now acquired Baker Tilly, or they merged, but those size firms are looking towards going after mid-sized companies. And mid-sized accounting firms are trying to go after smaller companies. And the reason is everyone's encroaching because technology has made it easier for clients to switch accounting firms. And a lot of this is tied to the cloud. The reason this is tied to the cloud is that up to this point, most accounting software, whether it's something like QuickBooks or Sage, MYOB, there's a lot of desktop local area network accounting systems, but The emergence of cloud-based accounting systems, QuickBooks Online, Xero accounting systems, has made it much easier for accounting firms to reach and get very transparent, not having to have the data on their own computer. They can just log in through the internet. So it's made it a very competitive market because if they're using a cloud-based accounting software, they can switch accountants quite simply. So what is it that is causing the shift? Traditionally, accounting is very seasonal. You know, you do tax, you do audit, you do compliance, you do it for consumers, you do it for business. So everybody's really, really busy January through April, and then because the businesses are a month later, so that runs through May. And then, of course, sometimes we can't get everything done, so we get it postponed, and then the industry gets busy in September and October. But it gets very, very seasonal, and it gets extremely busy. The accounting industry works incredibly long hours during these periods of time, and everyone kind of breathes a sigh of relief when it's done. Now, the challenge is business owners really want more help from their accountants. Why? The reason is that of all the things it takes to run a business, fiscal management is the most important. Every business owner basically wants to know they're financially stable, they can increase their profits, they can essentially raise the value of the company. Some of them may need to find additional money, which has become increasingly difficult since 2008, 2009, and the financial fiasco from the housing industry blow up. But they also need a succession plan. How do they take advantage of the fact that their largest asset is their company, okay? And fiscal management is a challenge for business owners. Most of them don't know a lot about fiscal management. Their idea is if there's money in the checkbook, well, I guess we're doing okay, right? We know that's not really the truth of the matter. The problem that business owners have is who can they talk to about their money? Well, they can't talk to employees. They can't talk to the employees about money in the business because if they're doing well, the employees will wonder why I'm not getting a raise or a bigger bonus. Maybe not even their significant other, you know, why am I driving a Mini instead of a BMW? But they certainly need to talk to somebody. They're not going to talk to other business owners. There's ego in that, you know, there's a little bit of they don't really want anybody else to know. There was a whole book written on this called The Millionaire Next Door. The really successful business owners, you know, they drive around in blue jeans and pickup trucks. Not that there's anything wrong with pickup trucks, but they're not extravagant in showing their wealth. But they still need to talk to somebody about their money. Who do they trust to talk to about their money? Their accountant. And the reason is, in their minds, their accountant looks at the financials every year. Now, I think it's kind of a leap to go from I'm doing tax and audit and compliance to I'm helping them with fiscal management. But they trust their accountant. And this is what provides this incredible opportunity for the changes in the accounting industry. Why? The reason is that traditional tax and traditional compliance and traditional audit are getting commoditized. The value of them, what people are willing to pay, is dropping because the technology is moving so fast that you just can't bill as much. So accountants are faced with this strange thing where the technology is making it more efficient, but it's also making it easier for them to lose their clients and to get paid less. It's a very interesting phenomenon, and it's taking place globally. Cloud accounting is the new norm. We spend a lot of time in Australia, and in Australia, accountants just assume that they have to provide value-added services, and not just doing bookkeeping, but also providing financial advice. There's a lot of ways that's happening: automated reporting, a way of helping explain to their business owners what fiscal management is, even the vocabulary of accounting is confusing to business owners. They don't, profit and loss. Well, that means whether I'm making money or I'm not. No, it doesn't. Balance sheet, their eyes get glazed over. True three-way cash flow forecasting, balance sheet forecasting, what's that? They get dizzy. Yet, it's imperative that they learn how to do fiscal management in order to build the wealth of the company, increase the profitability, hire new people, expand their markets. Those are all the things that are involved in fiscal management. And in Australia, the accountants are doing a phenomenal job of helping that take place. So what's the difference? It's one thing to use cloud-based systems. In other words, you can put your clients on QuickBooks Online, you can put them on Xero, you can put them on a variety. There's for little tiny businesses, for micro businesses, I think there are 10 different cloud-based accounting systems in this country. You don't hear about them too much because they are pretty tiny, but they're all out there. It's not just using a cloud-based system that's so important. It's leveraging it. Okay, so how is it being leveraged? Here's where we move from a shift to proactive management. Okay, so the thing to keep in mind is that firms of all sizes globally, in the United Kingdom, in Australia, in Scotland, in Wales, in Yorkshire, even in France, a huge effort by KPMG in France is really moving towards using their cloud-based systems and accounting to provide value-added services. And this includes, like I said, the Big Four, McGladrey, many, many others. So how is it that they're doing this? Okay. Reactive services are too late to fix problems. Now here's what the cloud did. When you were running, let's say you were running QuickBooks. Okay, and QuickBooks Desktop, okay, it's got to run on its own computer. So somebody's doing the bookkeeping. So the bookkeeping comes in, and maybe they do accounts receivable on Mondays, and they do accounts payable on Fridays, because they want to get a little, bridge in the cash. But essentially, you couldn't even find out really what was fiscally going on until the monthly period closed, and you got the bank checks reconciled, so you can truly get an accurate balance sheet from the time of the close of the month. Well, that means you could be 4 to 6 weeks before getting a report. And if there's something wrong, all you can do is look at it and go, yeah, problem. Well, what can we do? What cloud-based accounting has done is it provides the data in real time. It actually is creating all of the transactional activity literally as it's happening. So you, as an accountant, can log in to your client's cloud-based accounting system, Xero, QuickBooks Online, and see what's going on. Okay, now the problem with that is, how do you go through all the reports and all of the things that are necessary to find out what's wrong? We're still stuck in reactive services. Well, what's happened is that many third-party software companies, like Prophecy, have built tools that literally can track and monitor key performance indicators, variances, color coding to show what's right and what's wrong, and provide it to you in real time as it's happening. So the objective here, from our standpoint, is you want to take on the role of being the VP of Finance or the Chief Financial Officer. And the way you do this is by getting access to data in real time so that if something is shifting, you can move on it very, very quickly. That's what proactive management is. So what's happening is the accounting firms are putting themselves on a retainer with their business clients. In other words, they might bill $500 a month, they might bill $1,000 a month. Some we've seen in some of the mid-sized companies are billing $5,000 or $6,000 a month for these types of services. Why? Because to hire someone that can function as a chief financial officer could cost $12,000 to $20,000 or $30,000 a month. To have a really top flight VP of Finance, That's $120,000 to $150,000 a year. To be able to provide these services using advanced technology in a very efficient way is literally shifting the entire way the accounting industry is serving their business clients. Now, what's very interesting from what we've seen is the people who are farthest ahead in this are in Australia. The people who are next farthest ahead in this are in the United Kingdom. And then after that, I'd have to say KPMG in France, and there's a couple of others around the world. I know there's some activity in South Africa that is moving towards this. Guess who's in last place? The United States. For some reason, accountants in the United States are proving to be the last to move. That's good news for you, because by you shifting towards proactive management services, you have very little competition. You have the ability to start providing these services through these advanced technology tools. It's great for your clients because they will see financial strength, increased profitability, more take-home pay. You will see increased revenue and a stabilizing of the actual capital management of your accounting firm. It's very, very interesting. So, how do we help? Okay. The real-time data gives you access to the information as it's happening. What we do is we create a lot of the analytics and the insights from this data, and we do it in real time. Well, how do we know how to do this? Well, this came out of the fact that I started doing transitions and turnarounds, actually first in Fortune 100 companies, not small companies, back in 1983. And these were names you would recognize. So the things that I learned by 1990, I got a little tired of working with big companies. I shifted to helping smaller and mid-sized businesses. Really loved it, did that till about 2000. And by that time, I'd become famous, I guess. I was writing, and I was a platform speaker, and I was a contributing editor on a variety of financial journals in the United States, magazines. So I went back to helping larger companies. And I literally was being brought in larger companies to train their analysts, the people that report to the chief financial officers, on how to do forecasting, risk mitigation, multivariable analytics. I had a background in artificial intelligence programming, set and logic theory, advanced Boolean algebra. Don't worry, I did learn to speak English along the way, but I was kind of a math kid, right? So I learned how to do this. I was doing this on spreadsheets. And the inspiration for Prophecy was to be able to provide the kind of tools that were being used in world-class multinationals to small businesses, but to provide it through the accounting industry. So we give these kind of tools. They're pretty cool. And what it does is it allows you to provide the insights that your client business owners need for decisions and critical advice. Well, what does this mean in a practical sense? Let's say you have someone that is a franchisor, and he might own 2 franchises, but he might have 5 other people that also own franchises under him. We have tools that can actually benchmark and track and monitor these things in real time and show performance. We have, maybe you have some clients who own a couple of companies. We let you build a full consolidated report along with key performance indicators to track and monitor what's going on and report on that every month. The point here is that we try to help accountants and bookkeepers and consultants really create these proactive advisory services and really become the trusted business advisor. It's a very simple concept, but it's extremely valuable. With the shift in the administration, in the presidency coming, there's going to be a lot of things that are happening to get rid of things that have made it very, very challenging, from regulatory law and healthcare reform and so on, for small businesses. I believe we're going to see an incredible revival in the small and mid-sized business sector in the United States. However, that's when they need help the most. So we are trying to create these tools so that it's easy for you to provide the services. One of the things that we have done, unlike other software tools, is we completely white label it. No one even knows who we are. It's your logo, it's your ID. They log into the tools on your website. They can see these automated reports both through printouts, but they can also read them about things they want to know about right on their cell phone or a tablet. So it's a real next step in how to provide value-added services. Because we automatically sync with the accounting systems, you're always in real time. And you can actually push a button to sync it at any time you want, but it always does it every night. It's right at your fingertips. It's all white labeled. It reads you, not us. And it's forecasting that goes way past simple percentages of increase or decrease. We literally let you build with your clients a forecast that says, well, what if we want to open a branch office in Fort Lauderdale? Are we going to rent a lease property, or are we going to buy? How much does it cost? What's the interest rate? What's the terms? When would we start it? How many people do we have to hire? When do they get hired? What's our sales target? How many months will it take to get there? When do we add additional people? Are we running marketing campaigns? This is stuff that if you tried to do it on a spreadsheet would take weeks for people who really were good at building those type of algorithms. Our tool lets you build them in 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the complexity of what you're doing. And then it can overlay the cash flow forecast on it using artificial intelligence for doing things like budget analytics and so on. We are the only tool that has been accredited globally by the Independent Chartered Accountants of England and Wales. It's an international association, 150,000 accounting firms, and we're the only ones that have been accredited by them for doing budgeting, forecasting, and financial analytics this way. Why is that important? Well, it was validated by Baker Tilly McGladrey, and this particular association is regarded internationally as one of the premier organizations. We worked hard to get that, but we were doing it because we knew that your reputation is on the line. We wanted to make sure that our tools operated in a way that were consistent with generally accepted accounting principles and the ability to do, how do we do tax strategies? How would you like to know 6 months in advance what tactics would give tax optimization based on your client and what they're trying to do for growth or changes in their business? That's what we try to do with our tool. So we use artificial intelligence for doing budgeting. We have true three-way cash flow forecasting, which is not, you can't do it in accrual, you have to do it in cash. We literally look at the history of every single transaction, accounts receivable and accounts payable, and measure how much are 0 to 6, 0 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 to 120, over 120 non-collectible, and use artificial intelligence to build a 3-year forecast to understand what cash and capital looks like. Why is that so important? Because this is full liquidity of the company. We know how to account for things that are in the balance sheet that are transactional in terms of cash. It's not just the P&L, which doesn't account for in and out capital that only appears in the balance sheet. It's a pretty amazing tool. But more importantly, if 14 months from now your client is going to be upside down 100,000, that's it. That's liquidity. How would you like to be able to build strategies and tactics with them to not only put that off, but basically reverse the trend? That's what we can do with our three-way forecasting. The what-if scenarios, we talked about that. We do both historical and real-time analytics. We do benchmarking and consolidation. We let you actually build key performance indicators that may include data that is not from the financial sector, where you can actually put data in to help determine things that might be of interest to your clients uniquely. The reporting is completely automated and customizable. You can set up a series of reports to go out to your clients, frequency, content, order. It's a pretty amazing way to improve touches with your clients. You know, most business owners only have a touch with the client, with your CPA, maybe 4 or 5 times a year. You know, we turn in the tax, they turn in the taxes. They have a little meeting with you. You talk about strategy. They sign the paperwork, and it's goodbye. The way you build lifetime relationships is by having a lot of touches. And because of this commodity thing that's happening to accountants, you really want to make sure you retain your clients. The ability to have many touches, both through a smart device like their cell phone, automated emails, automated reporting, a monthly chat that they're paying for because you're functioning not just in tax and audit. You're functioning as being a trusted business advisor. Those are the things that we tried to do with our tool. This is happening at the industry. You don't get a choice to get in or out of it. It's happening at us all. Client retention, huge. You have to leverage the cloud, not just use the cloud. The efficiencies have come. You have to learn how to leverage them. We're always going to have tax services, right? Tax and death. But the business owners need a lot more. And Prophecy is one of the tools that can really help you provide these high-value services. At any rate, thanks very much. It's been fun to visit. I'm going to turn on my webcam and smile at you, and then I'm going to turn it back over to Jamie now. Actually, it's Brooke who's using Jamie's system.
Great.
And there we go.
Great. All right. Well, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to type them into the question box on the GoTo webinar panel. Otherwise, feel free to send us an email at support@myprophecy.com and we can get back to you. Great. I will be sending out email following this with the recording and a link to the blog that goes with it. So thanks again for attending, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.